Good morning, YouTube. This is Los Angeles Prepper here with another short video. Let me give a quick shout out to Prepper Bob because he's pushing some good content. Um, and I'm gonna say, hey, no hard feelings about me giving you grief about that green screen. I commented something about some free video editing software, and it's all right. Honestly, doing the chroma key, having to edit and render every single video, the full length of every video, it's a pain. I know it's a pain. Even if you had the software lined up, even if the lighting's perfect, it still takes time and energy. And bottom line is the quality of videos, I think, always come from the YouTubers speaking from the heart, and that's why I love people like Prepper Bob and all these other subscribers that I have when they comment. Whether or not I agree or disagree with them, or I like their comment, or maybe their comment, I haven't really had a lot of comments rub me the wrong way too much, but just honest, people sharing what they feel about the world, what they feel about what's going on. And I think, actually, I'm going to close this door and turn off fan real quick. I tell you, this city life is just noisy and distracting sometimes. I need to get out into the country more. It's nice and quiet, and I hear more birds chirping than Harley Davidsons on the road. Nothing against motorcycles, but some of those guys, loud pipes, I'm telling you. I'm actually a motorcycle guy myself without a bike at the moment, so. Anyways, New World Order. I don't talk about this stuff a lot because, well, this is how I feel sort of about the New World Order. For those that are pulling the strings at that level, at that high level, they're probably beyond the influences of my YouTube video. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, if there's no such thing as the New World Order, then I definitely don't need to talk about it because it doesn't exist anyways. So there's that. But then the question, is it just the people at the top? Who, presuming there is sort of a new world order, and not like it has to be some secret society, although it's sort of described like that. But let's define the new world order as anyone who feels that we need to move this world into sort of a global, controlled, authoritarian, the state has all the power and the people don't have any power sort of kind of system. I think generally when people talk about the NWO, they kind of that 1984 thing comes around, communist, socialist, authoritarian, totalitarian dictatorship, state-controlled type deal. I think in a way that, if you're part of a system that's kind of pushing towards that, you are kind of indirectly supporting the New World Order. Even as Americans, do I think America is pushing the world to a New World Order? Not really. Are there members of the government and of the political class of this country that are trying to push us in that direction? Probably a few. For whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe they're part of some group that thinks that's a great idea. Maybe it's good for their balance sheet. Maybe they're religious zealots. Maybe they just think that's a better way for the world. It's not really important so much to get wrapped up on what their motivation is or how many of them are, what companies they work for, what boards they sit on. I don't really feel about it in that kind of way. So how do we feel about directly or indirectly supporting this kind of thing? I don't have that strong feelings on it. I think the best, so taking this assumption that the New World Order does exist and there are some people, wherever they are, this country or otherwise, that are trying to push this agenda forward, what does an anti-New World Order person do? Good question. Do you protest? Do you write letters? Do you make YouTube videos? Do you make a website? Do you drop leaflets from a plane over people? you know, that's what we did in World War II. And that's what I think, I'm sure there are more recent instances of airdropping propaganda. Um, not to joke about it, but what do you do? How do you stop the New World Order? Um, well, it's not just one thing. If you feel strongly about it, I don't really have an answer other than just trying to live my life as a free American, or at least as a free American as I can without, you know, breaking state, city, county, federal laws, of which there are a myriad, and I do my best to stay on top of all of them. Like I was just talking about, I can't open carry a knife in the city of Los Angeles recently, so that's a new one to me. Um, but I just try to live my life as a free American. I try to support people and groups that support freedom, in sensible ways. I'm not, I'm not looking to sort of get so politically active that I'm getting arrested for protesting, for sitting on the side, for sitting in the middle of the street or something. Do I think that, uh, peaceably protesting can have an impact? Sure. Am I looking to do civil disobedience stuff like, hold somebody's arm in a PVC pipe in front of the mayor's office? No, I don't. Having, a thing on my record is not, I don't think it's going to help make the world a better place. I don't think it's going to help fight the NWO. I don't think I need to get arrested for protesting to prove how I feel about, anything to anyone. So there's that. But to a certain extent, I'm not really trying to fight society. I'm planning on getting a full-time job and kind of entering into the machine. But I look at that full-time job not only as sort of a temporary thing in the sense that I'm not going to do it forever, but, a way to kind of break free from the system. The system as it stands, capitalism, our economy, et cetera, et cetera, it's not perfect, but it will provide a way for me to provide for others, not just myself, but significant other when I get married, have a family, things like that in the future. Um, it's going to be a lot easier for me to take care of myself financially in the system than without it. At least presently, that's kind of the way I look at it. Could I go try to squat on some land and start a farm and live in my car and sell stuff at a farmer's market? Sure. Um, but compared to how much money I could make holding down a full-time job in engineering, it's not even close right now. I'm definitely looking to get into alternative ways of making money, building things, designing things, doing kind of my own business thing. But back to, the greatest use of my time, working a full-time job, even though it means I have to live close to the city, even though it means I'm kind of, more stuck in my free time, only having time on the weekends and the evenings and such, the bounty that it's going to provide is going to give me so much more long-term flexibility than trying to do things out of the system right now. So how does that relate to the New World Order? I mean, I guess you could say, the more tax dollars I pay, the more I'm doing things like supporting the military industrial complex, which, if you think that there's people in the government that are moving us towards a new world order, you could say our military interventionism is helping foment more aggression, which is leading to more control, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to be one global government. How could you commie fascist pig? You could say that. I don't consider myself a commie fascist pig. And I don't spend a lot of energy trying to fight fascism because I don't think we have fascism in this country. Um, we do have a lot of control. The state does try to control things. The state of California and the state, the state as the more national sense, the state. Um, so, I guess to wrap up this video, whether or not you feel strongly about how effective people in power, or people all through the power spectrum, are in moving us towards a new world order. I think everyone kind of has to soul search and look into themselves and say, not only what they think about it, but what realistically they can do to sort of fight it, um, and what they want their part to be. I suppose it would be meaningful for me if my biggest contribution was just to get people to start thinking about living more sustainably, being prepared for an uncertain future, looking at how to break out of the system long term. Ultimately, we're all probably going to, own something on paper and pay taxes to someone and be subject to this state or this county or this federal piece of land, unless you want to go live in international waters or be your own sovereign nation or something. You're going to have a master at some point. But I don't think America is that onerous of a master right now. I think we definitely have some of the most freedom of all the countries in the world. Not limitless amounts of freedom, but a lot of freedom. So, I guess in conclusion, be the change you want to be. Be the change you want to see in the world. Um, I'm trying to focus on being prepared for the future. Improving my situation so that I can kind of expand my flexibility, expand my ability to be sustainable, to increase my chances of kind of breaking out of the machine, breaking out of the full time work, breaking out of the living in the city, month to month type life. So that's kind of my thoughts on the New World Order. I don't think about it a ton, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.